Now let's just move on further towards the question number 2, which says, in a retail market, fruit vendors were selling mangoes kept in the packing boxes. These boxes contain varying number of mangoes. So as you can see, we have the following as the distribution of mangoes according to the number of the boxes. So the question says, find the mean number of the mangoes that are kept in the packing box. Which method of finding the mean did you choose? So first of all, as we can see over here, the intervals that are given to us are actually not in a continuous manner. You can see all by yourself that the very first interval is 50 to 52 and the next one is 53 to 55. So it is not a continuous interval. So first of all, we have to make it into the continuous interval, and then we will move on further towards finding out the mean number of the mangoes that is kept in the packing boxes. So first of all, let us suppose if I'm just taking this table, always remember that whenever we have to convert the intervals into the continuous manner, we always have to add 0.5 to the upper limit and subtract 0.5 in the lower limit. So always remember, if I'm just talking about making it into the or converting them into the continuous manner, we always have to add 0.5 to the upper limit and subtract 0.5 to the lower limit. So for an instance, if I'm talking about the very first interval, which is 50 to 52, so we have to subtract 0.5 in 50, we have to add 0.5 in 52. So this would be 49.5, this would be nothing but 52.5. So let us suppose if I'm just converting all these intervals, so you can see over here, I have taken a subtraction of 0.5 from the lower limits and I have added 0.5 into the upper limits. So this would be 49.5, 52.5, 52.5, 55.5 and so goes on. Now you can see over here that the intervals are definitely continuous and each have a class size as nothing but is equal to 3. Now let's just move on further towards finding out the mean. So here I'm using a step deviation method in order to find the mean number of the mangoes. So let us suppose if I'm just using this particular table. So first of all, neglect all the columns except these two. So these were the number of the mangoes in the continuous formation, and these are the number of the boxes that I'm taking as nothing but FI. So these are the FIs. Now I'm taking the sum of all the FIs that are coming out to be equal to 400. Now let's just move on further with the class marks. So first of all, let us suppose if I'll write a note over here, a note regarding the conversion of the intervals into the continuous manner. So to make the intervals continuous, to make the intervals continuous, to make the interval continuous, add 0.5 to upper limit and subtract 0.5 in lower limit. So this is a special note whenever we have to convert the intervals into the continuous manner. So we always have to add 0.5 to the upper limit and subtract 0.5 in the lower limit. Now let's just talk about the class mark. We already know how we can able to find out the class mark. Class mark is nothing but an average of the upper limit and the lower limit. So upper limit plus the lower limit divided by 2 is nothing but all about the class mark. So let's just find out the class mark, and we know that the class marks are actually represented as xi. So the xi's are nothing but 49.5 plus, so this is nothing but 49.5 plus of 52.5 with an average 2, and further this value is nothing but obtained by taking an average of 52.5, that is the lower limit, plus 55.5, which is nothing but the upper limit, divided by 2, and so goes on and so goes on. And the next table, or we can say not the table, and the next column would be of the table of UI. You can also make a table of the deviation as well, because DI is nothing but xi minus of A, but here we are finding UI directly. So UI is nothing but xi minus of A by H, where A is nothing but called as the assumed mean. So what is the assumed mean? Now you can see here all by yourself that the assumed mean is actually a value which is in the center of all the xi. So in the center of xi we have this value, so this is nothing but the assumed mean, that is nothing but A. So A is 57 over here, so this is is xi minus of 57 divided by h. What is h? H is the class size. So the size of the class we can take by the subtraction of any particular interval. So let us suppose if I am taking the very first interval, I am subtracting the upper limit with the lower limit, and I am getting the answer as h is equal to 3. So hence the class size is nothing but 3. So that's why I am taking ui as nothing but xi minus of 57 whole divided by 3. So it is actually whole divided by 3. Now let's just find out all the ui's over here. So for the very first ui, I have this value as minus 2. So it is obtained by subtracting the xi, that is 51 minus 57 divided by 3. So this is 51 minus 57 divided by 3. So you can see this is minus 6 by 3. Minus 6 by 3 is nothing but minus of 2. Further, this value is obtained by subtracting the 54 value minus 57, which is minus 3 by 3. So this is nothing but is equal to minus 1. This is obtained by 57 minus 57, which is 0 by 3, and further all the values. Now we have to take the product of fi's with the ui's. So you can see the very first fi is nothing but 15, and the very first ui is nothing but minus of 2. This is minus of 2. So we are actually multiplying 15 with minus of 2, and I'm getting the answer as nothing but minus of 30. In the same way, in the same pattern, I'm just moving on further by multiplying 110 with minus of 1. So this is actually nothing but a product of 110 with minus of 1. And further, this is nothing but the product of 135 into 0. This is nothing but a product of 115 into 1. This is nothing but a product of 25 into 2. And I'm just taking a sum of all these, that is nothing but the sigma of FIUI. Always remember, this is nothing but a Greek symbol which is called as nothing but a sigma. This is nothing but called as a sigma. So if I am just using the step deviation method, so let's just apply the step deviation formula. So we have x bar is nothing but is equal to a plus of h of sigma of FIUI divided by sigma of FI. So this is nothing but the formula that we are going to use to find out the mean of the number of the mangoes. So let's just plug in all the values over here. First of all, a is nothing but the assumed mean. We already know the value of assumed mean as 57 plus of h. What is h? H is nothing but the class size. So this is nothing but 3 into sigma FIUI. We have sigma FIUI as nothing but 25. So this is 25 divided by sigma of FI. Sigma FI is nothing but 400. So this is 400. Now let's just sort it out. This would be nothing but we have 5 into 5. Let's just sort it out. 5 into 5 is 25, 5 into 8 is 40, and 0 we have. Further, 5 into 1 is 5, and 5 into 1, 3 is left, and further we have 5 into 6. So this is actually nothing but coming out to is equal to 57 plus of 3 by 16 we have. 3 by 16 we have. So when we will sort it out, so this would be nothing but is equal to, 57 plus of 3 by 16 is nothing but 0.19. So the answer is nothing but 57.19. So hence at the end, the mean number of the mangoes, the mean of the number of the mangoes is nothing but the coming out to be is equal to 57.19, and this is nothing but the answer for this particular question. So remember, I have used the step deviation method over here, in order to find out the answer for this one. So this is nothing but a step deviation method. And the answer for this question is nothing but 57.19.